Hey guys, Double Wide 6, and today we're going to be talking about professional OBD2 diagnostic tools. Do you need one? Probably not. Do I have one? Yes. And are they helpful? Sure. If you don't mind working on your car a little bit, putting in a little time, using the internet to help you out, you can fix a lot of things that you don't have to take your car to the mechanic for. So the scanner that we're going to be looking at is right here. I actually got this mailed to me for free if I would make a video checking it out. So we're just taking a little look at it. It's called the Launch 9081, and basically it's an onboard scanner, OBD2, and you can plug it into your vehicle, and if you have a check engine light, you can check those codes and figure out what's causing that light to come on. Here's my personal scanner. I picked this up from Harbor Freight probably about 3 years ago, and I think it was around $70. And I've used this thing several times for myself and a few times to help out friends. One of the things that I did with it was I was able to replace the O2 sensor on my current truck because it had a check engine light, and I was able to tell that it needed a new O2 sensor. My wife has a Ford Fusion, and 2 or 3 years ago, it was actually right after I got this tool, I was able to plug in and figure out why her check engine light was on. And I had to go in there and replace her thermostat, which was pretty hard to get to. And I remember I called the dealer, and I know it was going to be pretty expensive to have them do the fix. And luckily I found a video on YouTube, and between watching the video and having my scanner to know what code and sensor I was trying to replace, I was able to fix that and save a fair amount of money myself. Alright guys, so I'm moving out to my truck, and underneath the dashboard, hopefully you can see this, that the scanner and camera might get a little bit wobbly here because I can't use my tripod. But here we go, we're in here, and hopefully you can see the screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn our key, if I can find my keys, to the number 2 position. So we set it on number 2, and you can see the screen on this is pretty nice because my other one, it's just like gray, but this actually has a color screen, which is pretty cool. So we're going to go in here to diagnose, and it's going to go through and it's going to do some scanning. So we'll see what it says. And while it's scanning, we'll talk a little bit about this OBD2. It stands for Onboard Diagnostics 2. And I think like every car after 1996 was required by the government to have a standardized computer software in it that would notify the technician basically with trouble codes so that they could figure out what's wrong with the cars. Because like years ago, cars were all mechanical, and they had spark plugs, and they had carburetors, and they had points and condensers and things like that, and they were all mechanical manual systems. And in the 90s and 80s, I guess, cars really started moving over to like transistors and microprocessors, and everything became computerized. And the reason has a lot to do with actually the government. There's like fuel standards and emission standards, and every time the government pushes something like this, they got to use all these different sensors and electronic components and devices so that they can meet the criteria of the government. So this will plug into any car after 1996, okay? And you can go through, you plug it in, and it tells you some stuff about the car. I don't really even know what most of this stuff is. It's very advanced, this tool. But I'm going to go down here, I'm going to hit OK, and we're going to go to read codes and hit OK. And this is generally what I do with my meters. I read codes, I can erase codes, this thing's pretty advanced. Okay, here we go. The vehicle has no fault codes, so we just hit OK, so that's a good sign. If there is a fault code, obviously you'll be able to click on it, and this will tell you exactly what is causing the fault code. So I've just been looking at the scanner and just trying to figure out what all exactly it does, and probably the nicest feature of this thing is it actually provides live data. So on here you can see like your engine RPM, the vehicle speed, your oxygen sensor output voltage. So all of these things, you would have to be a pretty advanced technician to know what's going on. And I imagine, if you're a Ford technician, you just compare these to the values that are on a chart in some book, and you know if something's out of whack. But for the average Joe like me, I'm really not going to be using these advanced features. I don't know if any of you guys would, but anyhow, they're on this meter, and you just plug it in, you can drive around and see if you have any problems. And I think with an advanced meter like this for a novice, between this and using the internet, you could probably figure some things out if you want to spend some time doing it. But for a guy like me, my main purpose of using a meter like this would be to read codes, figure out why check engine lights are on, and be able to erase codes and things like that. So anyhow, I'm double wide 6. As I said, this thing's called the C-Reader 9081, and really looks like a nice unit. And I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in looking at all the specs on it. Some of the things that it does that I found to be pretty interesting are that tire pressure sensors, you can turn off that light. If a light comes on for low or for oil changes, you can turn that off. Some of the other things that the box says, it has anti-theft matching, so I think you could get keys and program them to work for your vehicle. And you're allowed to do free uploads with this thing, and you can keep updating it. So anyhow, I'm double wide 6. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. You can check out the links. You might not need a tool as advanced as this, so I'll link some of the other ones there that I think are pretty good. Thanks for watching, and have a good day, guys.